Hello, my name is Idot-Enyin, and you are at the critique of Does math achievement happen when iPads and game-based learning are incorporated into fifth grade mathematics instruction? First of all, let's start by looking at the purpose behind our research article. The purpose of this was to evaluate the use of iPads as an effective tool for mathematics instruction to two classes of fifth grade students. The purpose was also used to observe how gaming as an intervention of math instruction has a result on assessment scores based on standards from the Scott, Forstmann, Addison, Wesley, or also known as SFAW, and the Virginia Standards of Learning, also known as SOL. Here are the participants that helped guide this study. The participants included 104 fifth grade mathematics students between the ages of 10 and 11 years old. Two teachers with equivalent levels of bachelor's experience, along with pre-K through sixth grade endorsed elementary certification, were also used within the study from the state of Virginia. The study divided the 104 fifth grade students into two classes with a teacher assigned to each class. Within those classes, 48 students acted as the control group. This was the group without iPads. And 56 students were used as the experimental group, or the group with iPads. Here was the overall layout of the design of the study. The study was conducted over one academic quarter. A SFAW pretest was implemented before the quarter and a post-test at the end of the academic quarter. This was used to compare the results of the use of iPads within the study. The experimental group, or the group with iPads, used game-based applications within the device with the direction of the teacher. The control group, or the group without iPads, used game-based physical manipulatives instead of the iPads and collaborative learning games with the guidance of the teacher. All of these studies were conducted within the classroom of the experimental and control groups. Here were some of the challenges that happened within the study. It was observed that only 40 days was available for the entire study within that session or that period. This is due to obligations that are normally occurred with the teachers and interruptions that occur within the school year. For example, teacher work days, snow days, state testing, and field trips. There was an inadequate size of the groups, and they were noted as a reason for undesirable results, despite the growth between the assessments. Teachers should have to be thoroughly trained in the operation of iPad usage and methods for game-based applications. The teacher effectiveness was a determining factor in the results of the study on how well the students succeeded in growth in mathematics standards. The results of the study were as follows. The results of the pretest showed that the control group, having a score of 55.58%, and the experimental group with a score of 61.05%, which was significantly higher than the control group. The post-test exhibited growth between the control group and the experimental group, which was conducted at the end of the academic quarter. The control group had a score of 62.25%, and the experimental group had a score of 67.79%. The control group showed a 6.67% positive difference, where the experimental group showed a 6.74% positive difference. There was a 0.0% overall difference between the control and experimental group's growth. So based on the results of this study, here were the conclusions that were drawn. The data provided from the SFAW assessment showed that the post-tests had increased scores between the control and experimental groups. Game-based instruction is still beneficial towards student learning with and without the use of an iPad as a resource. So this overall showed that game-based instruction was a big determining factor towards the growth of the student scores. A more thorough explanation of the types of apps and games that were used by both the experimental group as well as the control group would have been beneficial towards the study. Other contributing factors would be extensive training on the use of iPads for teachers and a larger study group to leave margin for proper evaluation. And this concludes the critique of this study.